Greetings from San Diego, California, a city very much like Firenze, Florence, Italia. And of course, I miss not being in Florence, but I'm very glad to present at this conference. I am a doctoral student at Pepperdine University in Malibu, near Los Angeles, and an employee at Northrop Grumman, a major aerospace company. So this topic is increasing corporate university training options within aerospace and is very important to me personally and professionally. Now that I've introduced myself, let me get to the rest of the agenda, but first I'd like to explain this picture that helped further spark my interest in the subject. As a student at Pepperdine, I visited Etihad Airways in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, and learned about their partnerships with universities and wanted to look further into the subject. So we'll be learning about what's going on in the world of aerospace universities. First, I will talk about a spell-it analysis to analyze the current situation within companies and organizations in aerospace. Second, I'll talk about Kotter's change model and how to make change to develop these universities. Third, I will talk about the communities of practice who can work within these aerospace organizations and universities. Fourth, I will talk about the history of corporate aerospace universities. And fifth, I will discuss the latest education models to develop. Some conference attendees may be aware that within aerospace and defense companies, there is a large current retirement wave of so-called baby boomers who are leaving the companies to retire. At the same time, a bunch of the millennial generation, younger employees, are switching jobs. They're not being retained within the companies because they leave to find new opportunities very often. So, as a result, a knowledge transfer is required between the retiring baby boomers and the millennials who would take their place. To keep these millennials and retain them, we need to understand, analyze, and change the culture of aerospace organizations so that they remain. We need to engage this millennial community, not just with pay and benefits for the short run, but to growth. And corporate universities help accomplish this goal of growth, retaining millennials to continue the companies after the retirement of baby boomers. Prior to developing these corporate aerospace universities, these organizations must understand the current situation. They can untangle their organizational environment using the Split Power Matrix leadership tool developed by Ramirez and Millet. This is an acronym. The S untangling means that the organizations recognize young employees are departing with short tenure. P, politically, companies and governments must protect the industry with the high-paying jobs and the national security implications. Economically, these companies want to remain ongoing corporate entities after the retirement of baby boomers. Legally, education reform could play a role in these corporate universities. And interculturally, I highlighted this. There is a generational change between the baby boomers and millennials that must be addressed. Finally, technically, the millennials would be receiving knowledge transfer from the baby boomers to continue these organizations. Once an organization understands their current situation and the need for change, John Kotter's 8-step change model can be used to help the organization deal with the change. The first step is to increase urgency. A staffing crisis is at hand within aerospace, and developing aerospace universities can help address that crisis and make the employees likely to support it. Second, build a guiding team. Third, get the vision right. Long-term growth is at hand. Fourth, communicate for buy-in. The retiring baby boomers can leave a legacy, and the young millennials can inherit a legacy. Fifth, enable action. Make it easy. Sixth, create short-term wins. Pilot courses are a perfect example of this. If the individual courses are successful, imagine how great a full-fledged university could be. 7, don't let up. Continue with the continual growth. And 8, make it stick. Develop communities of practice during this change so that employees support the whole process. Within the aerospace industry and academia, communities of practice are a common occurrence. These are groups of participative adult learners with a highly connected common interest. On the side, I've shown the NATO AGS airplane, shared among multiple NATO governments. These planes can patrol borders such as that between Russia and Norway, where there have been disputes. As a result, it contributes towards global security. This is a type of knowledge transfer, the skills to build the plane, or to gain the field knowledge to build the plane, that would be of interest to communities of practice. The students would be able to learn technical skills, educational skills at night, and apply them during the day at work, and these communities of practice would reinforce each other. Innovation is an iterative process. So, to best build an aerospace university today, it's good to understand the corporate and aerospace universities of the past. The earliest known corporate learning was done at approximately 1914 at General Electric. Following that, General Motors did functional specific training, meaning they would train people on their functions, such as putting in seats or putting brakes on a Chevrolet. In the mid-20th century, what you see in the image is for real. There is a hamburger university right next to McDonald's corporate headquarters. There, they do on-site training for store managers so that they can better do their job. Aerospace universities also began in the early 20th century. ENAC in France and Embry-Riddle in the United States trained pilots, mechanics, and other employees. The International Air Transport Association of Europe and the Aerospace Industries Association of the United States partnered with schools to train industry companies. And aerospace programs were also began at Cranfield University in England, and USC and UCLA in Los Angeles, and Wichita State in Kansas, all aerospace hub cities, began aerospace engineering programs. The Naval Postgraduate School trained government employees in aerospace for the United States. Combining corporate and aerospace universities, some of the early innovators were the airlines. Recently, Delta Airlines, JetBlue Airlines, and Emirates Airlines have all developed universities where courses can be taken online at the web pages on the slide. Additionally, Emirates Aviation University built a campus, great looking picture here, built like a plane in Dubai, where they also do on-site training. Among aerospace contractors and manufacturers, the Aerospace Corporation near Los Angeles developed an Aerospace Institute in the mid-20th century. This was a place where both employees and customers could be trained on the products, and the classes were available on-site or remote. In recent years, there have been excellent partnerships between universities and aerospace corporations. This includes Boeing's Advanced Research Center at the University of Washington, Drexel University in Philadelphia's Lockheed Martin Engineering Leadership Program with the world's largest defense contractor, and Etihad Airways Aviation Management MBA at Abu Dhabi University, which I was able to discuss with Etihad Airways Leadership Management. The good part about these partnerships is they allow curriculum control, where the organizations help the universities to best teach employees to make a difference when they're hired. The downside is it's much more expensive than internal training to pay for tuition. To wrap up the history of these universities, I'd like to talk about an upcoming university expected to open this fall, which I believe provides the best opportunity for increasing corporate university training options within aerospace. This is the Airbus Group's Leadership University. It's multi-site. They will have a campus near their headquarters in Toulouse, France, where primary manufacturing is done, and another campus near their English business offices. As a result of this multi-site campus, there will be faculty from multiple universities, such as those in France and England. The courses will be taught in French, English, and other languages. As a result, it will be both localized and professional, and it's expected to open in fall 2016. So before I discuss the conclusion of how to increase these options, let's talk about the history. In the first part of the 20th century, we saw aerospace universities and we saw industry training. In the second half of the 20th century, in the early part of the 21st century, we saw industry training, aerospace programs, airline universities, and corporate universities. The most current innovations, such as those at University of Washington and Abu Dhabi University, are partnerships between airlines or aerospace companies and universities. And this great opportunity at Airbus is where they've developed their own group leadership university. It has been determined that aerospace organizations have a major need to increase retention of millennials with the retiring baby boomers, and that corporate aerospace universities are an excellent way to do this. Companies need to increase their options of corporate training universities. We understood the current situation. We discussed the change required and the steps to make those changes to develop and charter these universities. We understand that communities of practice will help cement the changes within these universities as they're developed. And we've looked at the best practices over the last 100 years in corporate and aerospace universities as an example of what a future corporate aerospace university should look like. So Boeing and Airbus have developed partnerships or universities, so has Lockheed Martin. What about other aerospace corporations? What should they do? Here are 4 final points that are required for increasing corporate university training options within aerospace. Number 1, you need a similar model to what was developed by Airbus to change the culture and retain the employees. The model included a local nature, which allows thriving communities of practice, local campuses. Also, the top faculty provide the latest professional growth theory, and their partnership with the universities means the curriculum is designed to support current and future employees. And the fact these universities are in-house reduces the costs for outside tuition, which leads to long-term sustainability financially for paying for the programs and for the ability to continue these programs into the future. Thank you very much for your time